Diane Pittman with the Freedom Please channel and essenceofme.com. I'm coming today with this introduction as I prepare you all for this tutorial. I did not realize until I was going through the footage that the tutorial is extremely long. So I am going to break it up in parts, and in the description I will tell you it's part 1, part 2, part 3, and I do believe I'll do it in 3 parts. The beginning part is going to show you how to get actually, let's show you the piece, huh? We're going to be making a scarf with the Red Heart Boutique ribbons. And this particular color, as you may have seen in the demonstration that I uploaded, this is the city color. Yes, city. And I am showing you how to knit this scarf. I will break it up into 3 parts. The first part will show you how to get started. The middle portion is really going to be just kind of showing you how it progresses and everything. And then the last portion will show you how to close it off. And I do share how I close it off. Again, this is strictly how I do it. I was unable to follow the patterns that I saw before, and so I share with you in the tutorial how I learned how to kind of do it on the fly and by eye, and then worked my way from there. So this is the piece once again. Please feel free to leave me comments, questions, any suggestions that you have for future tutorials. If this is something, that you would like for me to do here on my channel. And I'm doing this one because I was asked so many times and so many questions on Facebook, because we see this beautiful yarn and we know it looks great, but how do we use it? Which is why I uploaded the demonstrations. So I would suggest you take a look at the demonstration about the differences or the comparisons between the Red Heart Boutique's sachet and the Red Heart Boutique's ribbons yarn to decide what type of yarn you would like to use. And if you decide to use the ribbons yarn, take a look at the demonstration on how to prepare that yarn for usage, because it is packaged in a very interesting way. And I say interesting because I've never seen it before, and maybe you all have, but I haven't. And so I share how I prepare the yarn for usage, and then the tutorial will pick up after that preparation. I hope that you enjoy this tutorial, and please leave your feedback, comments, suggestions on how, if there's any others you'd like for me to do, or any suggestions on how I can make it better in the future. I've done maybe one other one. Well, actually, take that back. I've done several others of tutorials, but this is my first one for knitting, and I don't know if I'll do any more for knitting. The next ones that I have in my bank right now are going to be for crochet, for the crochet along, coming up in January. So enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to interacting with you all in the comment section, and I hope that we can talk again sooner than later. Take care and enjoy the tutorial. Goodbye.
Okay, so I was recording and my battery died. So I'm going to, I had to take like a slight pause. I'm trying to oh, I know what I was going to say before we kind of break off. Do you see here how this yarn is kind of overlapping here, but these are hanging really the way that you want, because you want it to kind of hang. And what I do when I see that is I kind of go through and kind of give it a little tug, just to make sure it's not overlapping, so that when I go back through the next time, I won't catch the ribbon versus catching this nice little string to make it work. And this one is kind of fine. I can't get it. Anyway, oh, there it is, a little bit. You don't want to pull too much. So what I'm going to do, since I had to pause for a little while, is I'm going to do a couple of more rows. Oh, actually just one more row. And then I'm going to show you what we will do next before I pause it and come back once the piece is towards the end. And I'm hoping you can see this, because I go much faster when I can look at my hands and I'm not having to try to look through the camera video. I'm gonna, it's small talk. I actually learned how to knit these from a woman in the store at one of the chain stores. I was walking around and I was viewing this. I was looking at the yarn because it was on sale and I thought it was so pretty. But then I was concerned because I did not want to purchase it and not use it. And there was a lady there with her best friend and she was visiting from out of state, and she stopped and we were staring at it and she was like, "Oh, you should get it. I just love it." And I was like, "Oh, I think it's so beautiful. I just don't know how to use it." I'm turning so I can start another row. Now, you may not see fully behind me, but see how as I'm going along I'm going to sit this down for a second. As I'm going along, the yarn will begin to unravel in rounds. Now this is a little bit different because this is the first time I've used the table. I typically use a bag on the floor. I lay either a blank, you can lay like a towel, or the plastic bag that I work in. So let's say, for example, I have to stop and not work on it. Then what I do is I take it and I fold it like this and I place it inside of the plastic bag, and I place my my project with the needles. I actually try to nestle them together like this and give it one little swirl like that, and then I set it inside of the bag this way, and it holds everything just fine so that I can come back. I pull out my needles, I open it up, and I get back to work, but it'll go in rounds. Now I'm going to do one last row and then I will stop and you should continue. If you have any questions that I haven't covered, please let me know. I'm trying my best to make this so that you can see. Oh, that's another thing. Be careful. These little things are so little that it's easy to accidentally drop a stitch. I found that I have not had any issues with dropping a stitch since I've used these bamboo sticks, even though I believe the bamboo sticks make me feel as if I'm slower, like I'm faster with the aluminum ones for some reason. But it gets the job done. So as I was saying, the lady and her best friend, they were shopping and they were picking up quite a few of these skeins, and she was telling me how she was going to she taught her best friend, who was a crocheter, to knit, and the only thing she knows how to knit are these scarves. And so I asked the best friend, I said, was it difficult to learn how to do? Because I knew how to cast on to knit, but I wasn't very good at knitting at all. And she said it wasn't very bad, it wasn't that bad. And she suggested having the bamboo needles, because she said she would look up and all of a sudden her project was on the floor. So the lady actually opened up a pair of needles. This is the last row I'll do before stopping. But she opened up the package of needles and she opened up the skein of yarn in the store, and she began to show me how to knit these. Now, at the time, because I had not refreshed myself on knitting, I could see what she was doing, but I couldn't quite get it because my mind was, first of all, shocked because she did that in the store. And second of all, I was elated because I really wanted to learn how to do them. And lastly, I knew that if I kind of just got the hang of it and I could see it, I could figure it out. And I think that's what the thing is with any type of, well, not any type of craft. I mean, the crafts that I enjoy doing, which now includes knitting, but with enjoying, see how this twists here? And so I'm just kind of untwisting it so that we'll always have this top area up. When it comes to crocheting as well as now knitting, I found that, you could figure it out. It doesn't have to be perfect by someone else's standards. All you have to do is kind of know how do you get it to a place where it will hold on to each other, and of course that it'll still look really nice. Okay. One other tip before I let you go and then we finish on until we get to the end. You do not have to skip a loop. I skip a loop. I've even done it where I've skipped 2 loops. Now remember, if you're using one skein for one scarf, the more loops you skip, the less yarn you will have to actually work on your project. So I have found that skipping one and working in the other one is just best. When I was, if I wanted to have more, I guess not necessarily a 3D effect, but more of this kind of textured effect, I will do one row, skipping one stitch, one hole, and the next row I will skip 2, and that actually, it almost gives it a cummerbundish type of look, which is very cute with this for some reason. I don't know why. I always think these scarves remind me of that singer Janae Monet, because she always has this very retro 50s look, and I think that's what these scarves do, depending on how you decide to style them. So that's enough small talk. This should get you going on your knitting. Now what you're going to do is continue doing this. Keep working, turning, working, turning, working, turning. And then when you get to about, I would say 3 feet from being done, I say 3 feet. And if you don't, I'd say about 3 feet, because let's see, that's about 12. This is not my lane either, measurements and seeing. I would say about 2 feet out, stop. And you can pause this video. I'll put up a pause thing because I like to see that, so I'll know where to pause. And you can pause it and go ahead and keep working until you get to about 2 feet from finishing off the yarn. And I will come back and join you then and show you how you finish this project off. And we'll go from there. So good luck to you, and I will be back with how to finish off the piece. Okay, I am back. How's it going? So this is what I have. Wait, here's my needle. Here's what I have left. And so I think this is about a couple of feet. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up these last rows. Now, what I usually do, and I think I kind of halfway told a story anyway, because of my prior issues or my prior experiences with making projects for my kids, I am very aware and always concerned with the stability of projects so that they will have longevity. So I usually try to do things that I believe are going to assist in that. And I will always do the standard things of sewing in my ends, tying, knots and all of that. But you'll see that these are extra steps that talking and knitting may not be my forte. These are the steps that I do in hopes of, just making sure that the piece is secure. So I'm going to keep going across for this row. And I hope that you can see everything okay. I lost my natural light, so this is kind of just light here in the house. Look how long it is. It's nice, isn't it? Okay. Okay, for this row, I will not skip the extra stitch. I'm actually going to do it as close as I can. So on this first one, I am going to skip one on the first one just because it's that outside ruffle. So on this next one, I'm going to go into the first stitch here. And I do this to ensure that it's basically going to be a tighter stitch. I'm only going to do it for this row just to kind of make it nice and secure. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see around the camera and brought it up too far. Okay, I keep stopping. It's difficult doing a recording with everyone home. So here we go. Again, on this row, I do the stitches a tad bit closer together just to kind of make sure that it's a little bit secure. You don't want to do this in rows back to back because you don't want the pattern or effect that the yarn creates to be compromised, of course. And again, I'm gonna shake it loose because it's all twisted. And we're gonna keep going until we get towards the end and we have to finish it off. So I'm going again back to the skipping one opening. I don't know why it's, excuse me again. It's kind of one of those times where you kind of dislike using the bamboo sticks because it's harder to slide them off when those stitches are closer together, but it's okay. Making sure I don't lose any. As well as trying to keep my fingers in frame. Okay. There we go. That one is always going to be a tad bit tougher because of doing not skipping a stitch. And again, you don't have to do that because I did. I just find that it just makes me feel as if it's a bit more secure as time goes on. Okay, and so we're going to finish this off. I hope that even though barely new at the knitting, it is helpful to someone to be able to see this a little bit, and that I've done it close enough to hopefully assist you, especially if you're already a knitter, because all you have to do is see how to use the yarn, how to get it started, how to finish it off, and let the beautiful yarn do the rest. Oh yeah, let's hear all the boys in the background too. Okay. And I think we're about ready to, yes, the next row I'm going to go ahead and start the casting off process. This is just like any other casting off for knitting. We're just doing it with this ribbons. So the next row we will get that started. And then, oh goodness, I forgot about my rings. And this is how much I have left. I would say this is about less than a foot, but don't quote me on that. Here we go. So to cast off, you're going to do the first stitch, and then cast off, pull it off, and then do the second stitch, and all of this, you see this bunching, that's from when we took this string off earlier. Can you see that? Okay, so now I'm doing the second stitch and pull it off. Now what you do is on this, you're going to pull the first stitch over the second stitch and then pull it off, the first stitch off. So we're gonna, I usually use my stick, but you pull it over the second one. Oh goodness. Pull it over the second one, pull it all the way over until you pull it off. And then that leaves you with one stitch. Going to do the next stitch. Okay, cast it up. And then you're going to pull that back one over the front one and pull it all the way off. It's time for the next stitch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go out of frame. The next stitch. And you see we're dwindling down on this little piece. Okay. Gotta be careful with that. and go over, pull it off, and now we have one last stitch, and I'm hoping I have enough thread, and I do this little bitty piece, pull it through, pull it off, and now what I do is I pull this piece as much as possible and kind of give it a yank. Now this is a part where I'm not sure if this is a norm, but this is how I finish off the piece. What I would like for you to do is go ahead and grab your crochet hook.